YouTube. So my plan for this video is I'm going to point out what the Coiladder does. This is for a guitar, just a square strap body with a Showmaster neck on it. Basically everything's stock. If you look, this is how much routing I had to do to make the extra pickup fit. So basically what I did was I angle grinded down there and across there and then chiselled it out. So this is my thinking about building up these scratch plates for, you know, just selling loaded scratch plates. So there is a bit of routing needed on that. Obviously this is a, you can see, okay, try to put it in the big screen. You can see this was originally humbucker, single humbucker in below the scratch plate. Like quite a lot of guitars are. Sometimes you get what's called a swimming pool route, which is basically just this whole bit is just a big empty block. It doesn't have these intermediary blocky bits. Sometimes it's like 3 single coils individually carved out, but normally in cheaper guitars it tends to be just like a big swimming pool. If it's swimming pool, you probably get away with putting this scratch plate onto a strap without having to bother chopping any of the guitar out. It's all hidden by the scratch plate anyway. I didn't do a particularly neat job of it because it doesn't really matter. So here is the Coiladder 25. So from the top, these are the 1, 2, 3 are the original pickups. Going from the, if you know what a humbucker is, on a Strat general, the middle pickup, which in this case is this actual pickup here, is a reverse wind, reverse polarity. And what a humbucker is a normal pickup wired in series, so the output of this pickup goes into the input of this pickup, which is reverse wind, reverse polarity, and that basically makes a humbucker. My Squire Bullet from the early 1983, I think it is, has basically, this is what the pickups are. It's 2 pickups, 2 single coils in below a big plastic cover to make it look like a mad humbucker, when I suppose it is technically a mad humbucker, but it really is just two single coils in below. Normally a humbucker, it's got like a brass plate. You know, you can't separate a humbucker in half normally because it's got you know, normally you would expect to see both fitted to the same plate, whereas obviously these are not. Yeah, so this pickup, and this pickup are all the same polarity and the same, what's the other word? Polarity and direction wind. Same, the word escapes me just now. So it's different polarity, different whatever it is. Yeah, so this is the old one out. Often in a modern Strat, the middle one is the reverse polarity one, which means that when you're in positions 2, which is using these 2 or these 2, it's hum cancelling, right? So in this one, that's not really the case. So because this one here is the coil added. It's actually easier to see on my Iron Brew guitar because I just used the 3 original single coils and then put an orange pickup in here so you can see which one was the added coil. So this is this pickup here is your added one. Yeah. So volume, pretty simple, master volume. This is your 5-way selector switch, which just gives you your usual 5-way sounds. You know, so it's that one, these 2, this one, these 2, this one. This extra lever is the Coiladder thing. So what this does is it's a 3-way Telecaster switch. So when it's in this position, it's basically that this coil is not involved. So what you have is a Strat, 5-way lever, a Strat. Boring. Yep. This one here adds in this pickup in parallel, which means that you get hum cancelling, not humbucking, hum cancelling sound, which is, for listening to it sounds, it's not as clear as and bright as a single coil is on its own, but it's getting there. It doesn't quite have the sparkle, but if you've got hum as a noise coming through, lots of interference, it would take away the interference. So you, in the bridge position just now on the 5-way lever, just now you're getting a humbucker basically. So it's just like a 1 humbucker Strat. When you start moving this lever, it becomes a bit different. So what we've got now is this pickup is selected in parallel with this one. If you go into position 2, this pickup is in parallel with this one, right? Like as normal position 2, but it's in parallel with this one. So you've got like a triple. You get 3 coils on this one hum cancelling. If you're in the middle, it's this one and this one again, hum cancelling. If you're in position 2, then it's this one, and this one, and this one, and therefore all hum cancelling. If you're in the neck position, it's this one and this one. And if you notice in this position, this is giving you a sound which you don't normally get on a Strat. I've added a thing called a Gilmore switch before, which basically gives you the 2 outside coils, so it's kind of like a Telecaster. You know, you've got these 2 pickups on. Well, technically here you've got these 2 pickups on, so you've got very close to what a Gilmore sound would be. This is the original pickup of the Strat Bridge pickup, so technically okay. Instead of using this one and this one, you're actually using this one and this one. So that it's, you know, 10 mil different, which does make a difference to the sound, but not a hell of a lot. Yeah, so that's why I've kind of stopped using the Gilmore switch, because this does it as well. So there's your Gilmore switch. Obviously, you get there, you got these 3 on, right? And then if you go into take the lever switch and put it to the neck position, it now puts it in series. So what you've got here is a full-on humbucker. I said earlier on it was a hum cancelling thing. It was, but so now it's a humbucker, which is rather than the 2. So basically, one pickup's running into the other one, so everything's boosted and it becomes fatter and more less poly, like what a humbucker pickup is. And then when you're in position 2 here, or position 4, I can't remember which way around it goes, you've got a triple bucker, and then here you've got these 2 as a humbucker, and then here you've got this one, and this one as a humbucker, and then the neck you've got this one and this one as a humbucker. So you can see how this is piling up the sounds. So basically you've got 5 normal Strat sounds, the same 5 Strat sounds, but each one of them's got this added on in parallel, which is making it hum cancelling. And then in this position you get the same 5 Strat sounds, but it adds in this coil in series, which gives you 5 humbucker modes. All making sense, right? This is it says tone on it, but it's actually a high pass filter. I'll get round to that. That's basically, instead of a tone control rolls off the treble, so if you turn the treble down, the tone control all the way down, you end up with no treble. This does the opposite. So if you turn this all the way down, you end up with no bass. And then this is just a normal tone control. So if you turn off all the bass and all the treble, you pretty much get nothing. Really, just kind of pointless. And this is a phase switch, just a 2-way, which basically flips this pickup backwards, which is not really that much use probably, but as I said there, so you've got like basically 5 sounds, 5 Strat sounds, and then you plus 5 hum cancelling sounds plus 5 humbucking sounds. Yeah, so it's 15 sounds you're getting out of this. This wee £1.50 or whatever it is the switch costs works when you're in either hum cancelling or humbucking modes. So you get another 5 out of phase hum cancelling sounds, and then another 5 out of phase humbucking sounds. Therefore we get to 25. Really the only reason I'm putting this in is because it's giving me 10 extra sounds. You can just ignore it, leave it turned off. Sometimes I put them in a push-pull pot or some other way of doing it. Right, so turn it over and we'll see. I'll see if I can make this looks like it's making sense. So if I do it that way, that's normally what you'd be looking at when you're seeing it. Right. So 1, 2, 3. This is your 3, as I'm using just now, Strat pickups. You can see that this one here is, this one's from a different set of pickups. This is has got like a bar magnet on it, whereas these pickups have got like 2 magnets on either side of the pull pieces. I know Mexican Fender pickups are like this type. These are from, I assume they're just standard from the Squier, and this one I can't remember where it came from. I basically chose it because it was a comparable output ohms wise, and also it was sort of the right colour. It's not the perfect colour, but it's the closest colour I had. You can see it there. You can see actually that one. So this is a sort of more yellowy, and it's more of a sort of chewing gummy white colour. Not that really makes any difference to the sounds of things. Right, so starting from the start, 1, 2, 3 pickups. Right, so they've all got a black and a white wire coming out them. In this case, they've all got a start and a finish. So the 3 black wires coming from pickups 1, 2, and 3 are all soldered onto here, onto the pot. So that's the 3 wires there, the 3 black earth wires. I'm ignoring this one just now. Onto earth, right, and then the 3 white wires, which are coming from those 3 pickups here, are going through this red bit and going on to the 5-way lever switch. 1, 2, 3, just as it is in a normal Stratocaster. This is the output of the 5-way lever switch, right? This green wire runs to this tone control because I was trying to do something else earlier on. I think this will still work okay. Ideally I would probably put that to the input of the volume control, but it is, it's fine. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. My plan was originally I was going to try and make this tone control for the Strat pickups and then make this tone control for just the added in coil, but I think my theory's not quite right there, so instead I've made this a high pass filter. Yeah, so instead of having two tone controls, because I think what I was thinking is the tone control, if the tone control's on, the tone control's on, and it's, yeah, gets a little bit more confusing. Right, so this is the 5-way switch. As you can see, I'm only using half the 5-way switch. So it's like a 5-way switch is 1, 2, 3, then you get a common, and then you get a common, and then you get 3, 2, 1 for the switch positions. I actually did do a drawing of a 5-way switch, which I might use depending on how I get on explaining what the 3-way switch does. Right, so the 3 pickups, basically 1, 2, 3 pickups going into this switch here, and this switch chooses which one of these 3 pickups goes into out this wire. I really kind of explain it, I suppose. Right, so I got a bit carried away drawing this drawing. Ha! See, there's your 3 or 5-way switch. So there's your terminals 1, 2, and 3, and then a common output, and then a common output, and then terminals 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you can see there. I've even color coded them because this is the way they work. So basically, what the switch does, it covers between the two. What I really need is two pointy sticks. Ha! So if I use 2 pointy sticks, you'll see that in this position, what it's doing is if you imagine this being like a loop, it's actually 2 brushes inside the rotary pot. So it joins these 2 together, which as you can see joins the pink to the output. And then it would be like that. And then as you slide it round, it joins these 2 together, which will give you the orange and the yellow, whatever it is. And then this one gives you the more orangey orange. So this is basically what the switch is doing. Yep. This, I've not drawn this very well. This side is exactly the same. So in this position, you've got position 1, and in this side, you'd have position 1, and then when you're in position 2, it's the same. It gives you these 2 and these 2. So it's always connecting these 2 going out, or these 2 going out, or these 2 going out. Yep. This is basically how a 5-way switch works. So you put your 3 pickups on there, 1, 2, 3, and then this switch here. This is the output. So whatever one you choose, just chooses one of them. That's a 3-way switch, which is the original Stratocaster switch. Obviously, Hendrix decided that what you could do is if you wedged the switch between positions 1 and 2 and kind of held it with a matchstick, you could connect both these to the output. Yeah. So that's what on the original 3-way switch. So basically, all the modern 5-way switch is a 3-way switch, but there's a notch on, like a mechanical notch, which basically means it clicks and sits in between the 2. So a 5-way switch isn't really a 5-way switch; it's really a 3-way switch with an extra notch in the middle, so that you can, instead of having instead of having it there and then it clicks to there, you have it there, then it clicks in the middle where it's joining both, and then it clicks to there. Relatively simple, I hope. So and as I said there, as you can see, there's 2 sides. So basically, that is all I'm using just now. You get your 3 pickups and an output. Simples. It does get more confusing when you're trying to wire it for a Telecaster with only 2 pickups on it. You have to. What you do is you join pickup 1 to these 2, right? You join these 2 together, so that in this position you get pickup 1, and in position 2 you also get pickup 1, yeah? And then so that goes to the output. So what you have to do on the other side is, instead of linking these 2 together, you link these 2 together, which means that in the middle position you get both pickups. Yeah? I think I made that sound a lot more confusing than it is. Anyway, the reason I did draw that I'll come to in a minute. Right, so coming out of this 5-way switch, the output, it goes in to the 3-way switch, and this is where it gets confusing, because I had to actually modify this switch to make it work. As I said, a normal switch looks like this, yeah, but quite often these 2 are joined together there, like physically they're joined together, which means that you've only really got one side of the switch. It works fine for using. So that's when you look at the terminals: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you only get 7, so these two are joined together. And I've been doing this before to split it up to do my humbucker Telecaster mod. I've actually been physically hacksawing down through this bit of the track of the switch here to separate the two sides out. Yeah, because sometimes the two middle terminals are joined together. So I've been hacksawing that out to separate it out. On this particular switch, which is a bit is a different one, it's only got one terminal in the middle. So if you imagine, what I did was looking like this, right? This is all one piece. So imagine that bit there in the middle's not there, it's just that, right? So both sides are the same, but I need to split them up. So what I did was I'll use my second pointy stick. I cut the track out there, so this bit here is no longer connected to the output, right? And then stuck an extra wire on here for another output. So I've got an output coming out here with 1, 2, 3, and then an output, and then 1, 2, 3, and an output. That's partly because I'm using the wrong kind of switch. So that's what's happened here. There is the hole I drilled into the track. So that is the other output. The other common rail is there. So this middle one is no longer connected to all of them. It's only connected to these three. And then these three here are connected to this alternative output. Yep. I know this has sounded very confusing. This is meant to make it easy to wire one of these, but I think what I've inadvertently done is made it so that you don't even bother attempting it. Instead, you just get me to wire it, which is fine. Yep. So it goes out from there, right? So the main output is going to the center point here. Right, and then now let's see where we're going. Right, so yeah, so basically you're just choosing the 3 pickups that go in there, right? So here is our added coil. It's a yellow and a black wire on this one, right? I haven't put the black wire to earth this time because this has got a phase switch on it. So this yellow and black wire go on to this toggle switch. This toggle switch, right? You go in there and there. And basically what this switch does is, in this position, as in this side of the switch, what it's doing is the yellow is going to this black wire and the black is going to this yellow wire. So that's it. Basically, I'm swapping the wires around. And if you put it into this position, the other position, the black is going to black and the yellow is going to yellow. That's basically all a phase switch does. All you're doing is swapping the 2 wires around. So I'll keep it simple, and it's like saying that this yellow wire is now going to this other yellow wire. That yellow wire there is down there, and going to the inner terminal of the inner terminal for there. So this is now getting connected to this in a certain position. This one here, I've joined the 2 terminals together. So what this does is, this is the output. Yeah, so you're choosing the output of the switch here, and then this here is now just the output. So in positions, this position and this position, the output of this switch is going to the output of the guitar. Follow this black wire, it goes down here into the treble bleed thing. Right, that's fine. No, not the treble bleed, the high pass filter. So that's basically the output of the guitar going straight into this treble bleed. It goes into the treble bleed, out the treble bleed, to the volume control, out. Right. So in positions 1 and 2, that's the 2 positions where in the outside position, the added coil isn't engaged. It's not on. So you need to have the output of this switch to go to output so you can hear these pickups. In the middle position, the output of this is on, but the negative from this pickup is gone to earth, so that you basically got the 2 of them running side by side. You've got whatever's coming out the switch sitting here, and then you've got whatever's the added coil here. So the signal's going into both of them, through them both at the same time, and out parallel. In series, it flips it round so that it's going in through this pickup, and then instead of going to the output, which is in positions 1 and 2, these 2 positions, it's going to this yellow wire, which is the negative. So in this position, the signal from these 3 pickups is going into the added coil in series. I think this is making sense, right? The other side of this switch here, which doesn't look like I've got anything connected onto it, yeah, what it's doing is it's connecting in the middle position, right? It's got to be, I've got to earth this pickup to get it to go on in parallel. So basically, so that has, in one of these positions, that's why I needed two sides of the switch. So I need to be able to switch the negative, which is the black one from this pickup. It's got to go, it doesn't have to do anything. No, basically it needs to be earthed for the first two, and then it needs to go to, it needs to get a signal from the input, from the output of the first three pickups in this position. The positive from this pickup's always connected to the output. Yeah, I'm making this very difficult. It's really simple. I can't bend my head around how to make it sound simple. Yeah, so the treble bleed, basically all it is this wee, not the treble bleed, I keep calling it the treble bleed, the high pass filter. This is a smaller cap. This is the big cap for the tone control. It doesn't work the same way. And this one, what you do is you run everything through this cap. So these two black wires, one of them is the output from the added coil, which is, as you see, goes to the middle of this lug, and the other one is the output from this switch. So there's the output from the first three pickups is going in here, coming out there, going into the treble bleed. It basically goes in through the treble bleed and out on this red wire, and this red wire runs along there, down there, goes to the, that is actually lug 3 on the volume pot. And then this is where you put your jack socket. That's the output of the guitar. So the jack socket would have two wires on it, a shield and a hot. The hot goes to there, the shield goes to earth, and then the only other wire for the guitar is there's another earth wire coming from the bridge, which, like, physically not the bridge pickup, the actual bridge, so it earths it, going on here. So I've got like earth points. There's an earth wire there running from there. You can't really see them because it's so mangled in it. There's quite a lot of earth. 3 or 4 earth wires soldered on there. There's an earth wire soldered on there. There's an extra earth wire soldered on there. That's kind of it. Technically, I probably didn't need to put in all those earth wires because there is a bit of foil shielding here, which is on. So that the metal casing of this pot is actually sitting on this foil, which in theory connects it to this pot, this switch, and this switch. But it's a bit of foil. If it was a bit of metal, I'd maybe have left it. So basically, I don't know how confusing I made that sound. It's not that hard, really. The hardest bit was having to try and faff about, trying to get. I was going to say, if we were looking at this, as I said, in one of these positions, the coiladder needs to go to earth. There's an earth wire there going to the middle terminal. So in the middle position, on the 3-way switch, which is the parallel one, what you got to do is you got to put basically what I'm doing is putting this pickup, the added coil, to earth at the start, and then the output is permanently hot wired to the output. So that basically just puts it to the earth and makes it in, just puts it on. Whereas in the other two positions, in position 1, this pickup's not engaged anyway, because you're just on normal strat mode. In position 3, it's, you don't want the negative from the coiladder goes to the output here instead. So it runs through, it comes out of whatever one of these 3 pickups you've chosen, or whatever combination. It runs into the start of the added coil, and then it comes out the added coil and goes to output. Well, I've basically just stuck the high pass filter in there. Right, I don't know how. It makes perfect sense to me, but when you start talking about it, it starts sounding an awful lot harder. So runs in again. I'm not actually sure which way round this switch goes. One way's phased and one way isn't. So, repeating myself again. This 3-way position, in this position, it's a strat. Five strat sounds. In the middle position, it adds this in parallel, which gives you 5 other sounds that use this pickup as well as whatever it is you choose with the 5-way lever. And in the last pickup, last position, it uses this one in a humbucker in series with whatever you choose. So this 5-way lever always chooses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your positions. It always does that. It's just this either doesn't add this in, adds it in parallel, or adds it in series, which gives you 15 sounds. And then with this phase switch, if you reverse it, basically all I'm doing is flipping this pickup upside down, which makes it a really thin sound. So, should be interesting. If anyone's interested in me making up one of something like this, as I said, I did need to route to get that to fit in. Like that, pretty easy. But really, so this is, well, I've not tested it. Maybe don't follow that. Maybe you won't be able to follow this diagram exactly. I keep taking photos when it's done and before I've gone in and decided that some of the things I did wrong. Although it does look like a bit of a mess, I've kind of tried to clump it all up, and some of the wires kind of go in and wrap around, just because if you've ever tried to put stuff into a strat, it's really annoying because the wires sometimes sit over these bits, and then the scratch plate won't sit flush. So I've kind of got it, these two, going in a straight line, going through a wee bit of heat shrink tube in there, which is going to, hopefully that there is going to catch and always stay in there. Then this bit is kind of, and I've got to try and wrap it so it comes round this piece here. But there's only 3 wires in the guitar that haven't been connected. So there's their earth wire from the bridge that just goes to, well, I would just put it there to earth, or you could put it to there as earth, or anywhere that's earth. But that's an important one. And then you get the output of the that one out of the way. There's your output from the jack socket, or it's the output jack. So you've got a hot and a shield. The shield goes to earth again, and the hot goes to there, and that's it. So what I'm thinking about making it a relatively solderless job is, these are the 3 wires in the guitar, right? So these are both earth, right? Both the earth from the bridge and the earth from the jack just go on here. So I'm thinking if I put a wee Scotch block, maybe even just glue it on there. You know what a Scotch block is? It's like a wee plastic thing with like a screw-in terminal on it for joining 2 wires together. Basically, all you need to do, if I connected it up to this pot, or maybe even stuck it on the back of the pot, is you'd have 2 holes. One would be marked as hot from the output jack, so that basically goes into hole number 1 and screwed down. That would get connected to this terminal here, and then the other hole would be just connected to earth, and you would stick in both this earth and this, and that'd be the whole guitar wired in theory. Yeah. So I'm going to leave this one just now, and I've got a Les Paul. I'm going to swap over the wiring for a while. I'll get the camera set up like this. So if anyone's interested in doing that, I can't really do tutorials on how to do these things. You can tell it's quite a confusing thing, and the diagrams change depending on what parts it is I've got. But there you go. So I think this guitar is actually going to turn out really nice. The more I look at it, the more it just seems to be just a Strat with an upside down headstock rocking. The neck's a little bit, it's got fatter frets than a Strat, and the neck's a little bit more, I say a bit more Ibanez-y. So it's a new metal guitar is what I always thought the Showmaster was. It's kind of like a Strat for new metal, so you're more likely to get like a Floyd Rose and humbuckers in it, and a slightly thinner profile neck, fatter frets. It's a metal Strat. So this one's not really necessarily going to sound particularly metal. Well, you've got 10 humbucking sounds and 10 hum cancelling sounds and 5 normal sounds, so I'm sure you could find something in it. Rock on, catch you later. I'm going to wire a Les Paul now.